Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome again everyone to chapter 2, the human resource management functions and strategy. In this chapter we will cover what is the importance of HRM. HRM has a dual nature, support the organization's strategy as we have talked in the previous slide, and represent and advocates for the employees. Strategic human resource management provides a clear connection between the organization's goals and activities of employees. So, what do we mean? If we are in an organization and we want or we are planning for strategic or we have a strategic planning, then we must ensure that we involve the human resource management department or function. Because based on this strategic planning, the HR department will plan for the human resources that we need for an organization in order to achieve these goals that we are planning for. So the human resource functions has 4 basic functions. It's listed as staffing, training and development, motivation, and maintenance. This is basically, you may notice it within the organization you are working with. So staffing, training, development, and motivation, maintenance. In other words, hiring people, preparing them, because they need to be prepared, stimulating them, getting them involved and motivated, and then keeping them or retaining them. Now we look at the staffing. Staffing is strategic human resource planning, match prospect skills to the company's strategy needs. So let's say if we are starting a project, we are working on the Riyadh Metro, for example. We have this grand strategy or this plan, strategic plan. We need to complete this project within 3 years. So we need to involve the human resource department, as I told you. Here, human resource planning, match prospects skills to the company's strategy needs. So we need to understand how much or how many engineers we need and how many technical people we need for this project. And then staffing, it's also recruiting. A lot of people, they mixed up and they think recruiting is staffing. It's not. Staffing or recruiting is it is under the just a second please. So staffing is under the recruiting is under the staffing functions. So staffing, when you see staffing in your organization, it means they're looking for the planning, recruiting, and selecting. So recruiting use accurate job descriptions to obtain an appropriate pool of applicants. Then after we get this pool of applicants, then we select what is the best, and we try to thin out the pool of applicants to find the best choice that suits our or the main purpose. Staffing has fostered the most change in HR department during the past 30 years. Now the training and development function within the HRM, human resource management, what they are doing. Those people are responsible for a couple of things. First, orientation. Teach the rules, regulations, goals, and culture of the company. It's really important to have an orientation. A lot of companies that I know, they don't have the orientation, which is to be honest, it's bad for the company. But then nowadays, I think many organizations, and due to the globalization, they have adopted some orientation programs. So when you start at the beginning, they will probably have 1 week, teach you about the rules, regulations within the company, what is the main goals for this company, and the culture of the company. Employee training help employees acquire better skills for the job. So if you are recruiting or selecting people for a call center, for example, for STC, at the beginning you would need to give them a training, enough training in order to develop or help them to probably shape their skills for this job specifically. Employee development, prepare employee for future positions in the company, and this can be done by certain programs or different or variety of programs. Organizational development, help employees adapt to the company's changing strategic directions. So sometimes we would need to change the strategic plan of a company, and we need to get every employee on board with us. And organizational development, or what it's called OD, help employees adapt to the company's changing strategic directions. Career development, provide necessary information and assessment in helping employees realize career goals. Career goals, it's probably it's the responsibility of the employee himself. So it's important to understand what is the options available for you and plan for it and work toward that goals in order to move forward. The goal is to have competent, adapted employees. So motivation, I don't believe that we have it as a functions in our HRM or in our human resource management practices in Saudi Arabia. I'm not too sure, I'm not aware of any, but if you have in your organization, please share it with us in our virtual class or face-to-face, and let me know how is it and whether is this information applicable to it or not. So motivation theories and job design, environment, and well-constructed jobs factor heavily in employee performance. The performance appraisals, yes, we have something. We have the performance management. In fact, a lot of companies, they do it. Performance appraisals standards for each employee must provide feedback. There are different, I'm not too sure, I think we will cover it later in one of the chapters for this course in details. So there are different way to measure the performance of an employee, and it's an important to understand how did you perform within the year. Rewards and compensation must be linked between compensation and performance, and depends on your performance you may get rewards and compensation on it. Employee benefits should coordinate with the pay for performance plan. So the main purpose of the motivation, what is it? What do you think the main purpose? Why do we need this motivation functions within the organization or within our HR department or HR management? The main purpose is to keep your employees productive and to get their loyalty level up high and maintain their performance and staying within the company. One of the HR functions, the maintenance, and it's the last. Safety and health Caring for employees' well-being has a big effect on their commitment, obviously. Communications and employee relations keep employees well informed of company doings or what changes, and provide a means of venting frustrations. So you need to get out their frustration and release it and listen to them, and keep them informed about the company's direction, or where they are, or where we are going. For the safety and health, caring for employees' well-being. This is, I believe, it's an obvious. You would see it on yourself. You would think about the organization that you're working with. What if they care about you? What if they care about your family? What if they care about your safety and health? Like, they have a really good health insurance. They probably understand if there is any disasters happening, natural disasters happening. They keep contacting or communicating with the employees and see whether they are affected, and if they are affected, they offer some help. All these will result in job loyalty, and you can see here the job loyalty has declined over the past decade because of the lack of these aspects or practices. External influences on HRM. What are the external influences on HRM? We have 4: dynamic environment, we have the laws and regulations, we have the labor unions, and management thought. Probably we don't have the labor unions in Saudi Arabia, but I believe we have the rest. Anyway, our labor unions may be represented by the Ministry of Labor. They are looking after this. It's not unlike America, where they have it separately. The dynamic environment. It's what we have talked in the previous chapter: globalization and decentralized work sites, workforce diversity, technology, teams, employee involvement, and continuous improvement, as well as the ethics and changing skills requirements. The only constant in life is change. The laws and regulations. Legislation has an enormous effect on HRM. Laws protect employee rights to union representation, fair wages, family medical leave, and freedom from discrimination based on conditions unrelated to job performance, such as gender, age, probably what else, race, all these kind of discrimination acts. It has some certain laws to protect employee and represent them. The labor unions assist workers in dealing with company management, negotiate wages, hours, and other terms of employment, promote and foster a grievance procedure between workers and management. When a union is present, employers cannot fire workers for unjustified reasons. Unfortunately, I believe that everyone wishes to have the labor unions practices in Saudi Arabia in order to protect them from the employers and their some of their probably unjustified actions. Excuse me. One of the external influences on human resource management is the management thought. And if you have studied a principles of management course, you would probably came across these names that we have. So each of these people have a remarkable influence on some certain management thought. So Frederick Taylor developed principles to enhance worker productivity. I believe that you are not required to remember the names, but it's important to probably, in this case, it's important to at least understand what each person or each name in here impact or has an impact on the HRM. So Taylor developed principles to enhance worker productivity. Hugo Mensberg devised improvement to worker testing, training, evaluations, and efficiency. Mary Barker Bollett, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing the names correctly, but at least I'm reading it. Advocate people-oriented organization, the human people, or the human improvement. And then Elton Mayo's Hawthorne studies dynamics of informal work groups have a bigger effect on worker performance than do wages and incentives. So the Hawthorne studies gave rise to the human relations movement, benefits, healthy work conditions, concern for employee well-being. The structure of the HR department, there are 4 areas in typical non-union HR department: employment, training and development, compensation, benefit, employee relations. Many HR departments also offer services such as operating the company's credit union, making child care arrangements, providing security, or running in-house medical or food services. I would love to hear if you have something like this that you can share. So employment, what do they do? Promote staffing activities, recruits new employees, but does not make hiring decisions. Training and development helps workers adapt to change in the company's external and internal environments. Compensation pays employees and administrates their benefits packages. Employee relations ensure open communication within the company by fostering top management commitment, upward and accurate communication, feedback, and effective information sources. Career in HR. HR positions include assistant who support other HR professionals, generalists who provide service in all 4 HR functions, specialists who work in one of the 4 functions, executive who report to top management and coordinate HR functions to organizational strategy. Interpersonal communication skills and ambition are 2 factors that HR professionals say advance their careers. Interpersonal communication skills and ambition. So if you want to be advanced within your career, in the HR department, you would need to have the interpersonal communication skills, and you need to be an ambitious. Organizations that spend money for quality human resource programs perform better than those do not. This is an HCI study. Quality programs like reward productive work, offer flexible work-friendly environment, properly recruit and retain quality employees, provide effective communications. Make sure HR services match the overall organizational strategy. So here again, interpersonal communication, as you can see, the ambition, repetition in the organization, the strategic critical thinking skills, HR work experience, leadership skills, business acumen, HR generalist experience, Human Resource Certification Institute. What does it take to get to the top? So communication, interpersonal communication is really important, and ambition. HR trends and opportunities. More than half of all companies outsource all or some part of their HR functions. Professional employer organizations help small to medium-sized companies attract stronger candidates and handle new laws in HR. Shared services allow organizations with several divisions or locations to consolidate some HR functions into one central location while retaining certain functions in divisional locations. So one of the plus for shared services is probably to make sure that your strategic plan is aligned with the human resource management practices in your organization. So to cost saving or to cut cost, probably you need to consolidate some of the HR functions into one central locations and keep the rest in the divisional locations. The entrepreneurial global ethical HR. HR managers in small businesses perform the same functions of those in larger businesses, but in a smaller scale. Absolutely. International human resource management is very involved and costly. There is no doubt. And you probably see it within the organization that you are in. If you have an international recruit or employees, you would understand how expensive. Recent corporate scandals and resulting legislations, SOX, have spurred the corporate ethicist inputs position. What is it? What do we mean by this? Probably, if we probably go to the book, one of the primary changes related to corporate management scandals in the early years of the new millennium was legislations signed into law in July 2002. This is obviously in America. The legislations called the Sarbanes-Oxley Act established procedures for public companies regarding how they handle the report their financial picture. The legislation also established penalties for non-compliance. For example, SOX requires the following: top management, the CEO and CFO, chief financial officers, must personally certify the organization's financial reports. The organization must have in place procedure and guidelines for audit committees. CEO and CFO must reimburse the organization for bonuses and stock options when required by restatement of corporate profit. Personal loans or lines of credit for executive are now prohibited. Probably it's not so important. Anyway, match the four major HR positions. What are they? Assistants, generalist, specialists, and executives. This is really important. Remember it. Four HR department areas. What is it? Do not mix up with this. Staffing, training, motivation, maintenance are the functions. Okay, when I say, or when the question in the exam asking you about the four HR department area, what are they? Employment, training, compensation, and employee relation. And for quality programs, what do we have? Reward productive work, offer flexible work, work-friendly environment, properly recruit and retain quality employees, provide effective communication. And for HR functions, what are the functions? Staffing, training, motivation, and maintenance. Remember, do not mix with the HR department areas. The four external influences on HR: environment, laws, labor unions, and management thought. You see, four. So it's really important that you do not mix up. I'm sure in the exam, a question or one or two will come about these four lists or fours list. That's the end of this chapter. Thank you very much. I look forward to seeing you in the virtual, or talking to you in the virtual class, inshallah. Best of luck.